Hello and welcome to our daily news program coming to you here on Canal Algérie. Let's start off with your headlines for today. In a message addressed on the occasion of the World Labour Day, the President of the Republic pays a vibrant tribute to the workers fully engaged in the edification process and reiterated his commitment to preserve the citizens' dignity. Army General Said Chingari, Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, supervises a night tactical drill in Andukel belonging to the 5th Military Region. And Moroccans are still denouncing the high cost of living while demanding a better socio-economic situation in their daily protests. The International Labour Day is an opportunity for the French workers to voice their anger against the retirement reform by holding protests and sit-ins amid police surveillance. Good evening and welcome back. First up in our news here in Algeria, and more precisely in El Oued province, where the official festivities of the World Labour Day took place. On this occasion, the Minister of Labour, Employment and Social Security chaired a ceremony and a gathering of workers at the Culture Hall. Mohammed Amin Al-Amoudi Faisal Ben Talib read out a message of the President of the Republic addressed to the Algerian workers, in which he called on Algerian men and women to adhere to the process of change and that the new Algeria is going through. On this occasion, the Labour Minister made the following statement. Let's have a listen.
وهكذا فإن المكاسب التي تحققت في عالم الشغل.
The achievements made so far in the realm of labour denotes the state's determination to preserve the citizens' dignity and to make labour a pillar for modern economy, with all Algerians whom we call on to adhere to the change project of a new Algeria and to meet all the challenges of knowledge digitalization by introducing all the necessary means to boost the innovation spirit, ensure transparency and instill the justice value among all citizens and the economic and social partners as well.
On the occasion of the Labour Day celebrated on May 1st, the President of the Republic addressed a message to all workers, stressing that this event is an opportunity to express recognition and gratitude to all those contributing to the well-being of citizens and that of our country. More details with Melissa Kebash.
In his message addressed to the Algerian people, the President of the Republic expressed appreciation and gratitude to workers contributing through various professions to the development of Algeria and the well-being of citizens, adding that the human element is the basis of sustainable development and the pillar of wealth creation, and that during the year 2020, they've made the improvement of workers' conditions a priority through the implementation of measures such as raising the value of the national minimum guaranteed salary, exempting taxes on people with limited income, and raising the salaries and retirement pensions. They've also sought to integrate professionals with contracts into permanent job positions, as well as the transformation of contracts of those benefiting from social integration arrangement into permanent contracts, which allowed in a short period of time to hire more than 500,000 workers in permanent positions. And to encourage the initiative spirit, the President of the Republic indicated that they've introduced a special leave for the creation of enterprises to allow employees to initiate investment projects without the fear of losing their jobs, and launch a mechanism allowing citizens settled abroad to adhere to the social security system and benefit from retirement. And to reinforce this approach gradually, they strive to improve the living framework and support the purchasing power, according to what the country's financial balances allow. All this while making sure to provide decent motivation conditions through the promotion of social dialogue and work unions in order to preserve the rights of workers and their professional future. Thus, the achievements that have been made in the world of work confirm, as indicated by the President, the determination to preserve the dignity of citizens, value the efforts, and rely on work as an essential pillar in building a modern and strong economy. with the help of Algerian women and men, whom we call on to adhere the process of change being witnessed by the new Algeria through the best use of the new mechanisms and devices created with the aim to encourage the spirit of innovation and establish transparency in the management of public affairs, as well as install the principle of equal opportunities for workers and both socio and economic partners. Finally, the President of the Republic congratulated workers on this occasion and paid homage with them to workers and trade unions who perpetuated their names thanks to their national loyalty and commitment to their homeland. He also mentioned two martyrs, namely Isati Dir and Abdelhaq bin Hamouda, and their companions among trade unions, who fell martyrs along with other brave figures. Thanks to their courageous patriotic stances, Algeria managed to face the advocates of extremism and barbaric terrorism during the years of the national tragedy. Glory to our martyrs, long live Algeria free and proud, and may peace and mercy of God be upon you, concluded the President of the Republic.
And in a different context, Sheikh Mohammed Saleh Al-Jit, the son of the scholar Muhammad Tahir Eight Al-Jit, passed away at the age of 82. On this painful ordeal, the President of the Republic extended his sincere condolences to the family of the late, praying Allah Almighty to welcome him in his vast paradise. As part of his visit to the 5th Military Region, Army General Saeed Shingiri, Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, supervised on Sunday at the 5th Polygon of Firing and Maneuvers of Amdukel the execution of a night tactical exercise with real ammunition carried out by units of the 7th Armored Brigade, supported by units of the Ground, Air and Technical Support Forces. Further details with Ines Gilou.
At the beginning, the General of the Army followed a presentation by the Commander of the 7th Armored Brigade on the general idea of the exercise and the different stages of its development, namely a theoretical phase which witnessed the participation of the staff of the regional commands and the engaged units, and a dynamic phase where the units involved in the drills. At the level of the firing and maneuvers range, the Army General closely followed the progress of the exercise carried out at night and in conditions very similar to reality, according to a plan worked out in accordance with the predefined objectives, namely to forge the attitude of the staff to be ready for night combat actions and consolidate their experiences on the ground in order to achieve coherence and interoperability between the units and the elementary units that are to take part in the various stages of the battle, in addition to allowing the crew to acquire more skills of dominating modern equipment and weapon systems and to test their operational readiness and their capacity to execute possible night combat missions, which will undoubtedly allow to assess the competences of the command and staff of the brigade and of the support units throughout all the stages of preparation, conduct and execution of the exercise.
في خط دفاعات العدو.
The execution of this exercise clearly demonstrated the ability of the participating units to succeed in the accomplishment of the assigned missions, which is in itself a success and the result of the good mastery by the personnel of different weapons and advanced equipment. This also demonstrates the development, readiness, and operational interoperability achieved by our armed forces in the execution of this kind of high-level tactical exercises.
شاوس الجيش الوطني الشعبي صقور الجوي لقواتنا الجوية مستعدين استعدادا كاملا لإتمام المهمة المكالة لهم.
At the end of the exercise, the Army General inspected the participating units. Before holding a session with the personnel of these units, during which the Army General congratulated them for the painstaking efforts they made during the whole period of combat preparation, as well as during the preparation and execution of this exercise. He also gave them a set of instructions and guidelines, all of which were based on the need to objectively assess the results of this exercise in order to achieve the expected objectives and results.
In other news, the president of the Saudi Shura Council, Dr. Abdullah bin Mohammed bin Ibrahim al-Sheikh, is in Algiers for a 5-day visit. He was welcomed upon his arrival at the international airport of Houari Boumediene by the president of the Council of the Nation, Salah Boujil. The president of the Saudi Shura Council affirmed that his visit to Algeria reflects the quality of the relations binding the two countries, while wishing that this visit will meet the two parties' aspirations via the consolidation of relations at the level of councils and other assemblies as well. In another development, the Minister of Solidarity took part in the 42nd session of Arab Ministers of Social Affairs via video conference. The meeting was held by the request of the General Secretariat of League of Arab States, chaired by Qatar. The participants in this meeting agreed to strengthen humanitarian and medical aid in solidarity with the Sudanese people. After 2 weeks and a half of continuous clashes, the conflicting parties in Sudan agreed to negotiate. The head of the UN mission in this country, Volker Perez, revealed that the Sudanese army and the Rapid Support Forces agreed to send their representatives to hold discussions, which will primarily tackle a stable and reliable ceasefire monitored by national and international observers. It is important to note that more than 500 deaths and 4,500 injured were recorded, while 75,000 people were displaced since the outbreak of the clashes. And the Sahrawi Democratic Arab Republic welcomed the BRICS position regarding the Sahrawi cause. The group called on to find a political settlement and guarantee the Sahrawi people the right for self-determination. This announcement was hailed by the Sahrawi president, according to the Sahrawi Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mohammed Sidati. And the Spanish Minister of Labor and presidential candidate also reiterated her support to the Sahrawi people. Yolanda Diaz renewed her commitment to the self-determination and independence of Western Sahara and the unwavering position of her party to place the defense of human rights as a central component of its program. In Morocco, the Moroccans seized the World Labour Day to take to the streets again. A large number of demonstrations were present this Monday in Rabat and Casablanca, denouncing the high cost of living and the socio-economic difficulties faced by the population. Report by Najah Dayar.
The Moroccan popular discontent keeps rising. People plunged into worry and precariousness and the deterioration of purchasing power marked by soaring food prices. According to official statistics, the situation continues to worsen with an inflation rate exceeding 9% and a consequent increase in prices of food products. A situation that has prompted hundreds of Moroccans to take to the streets in many cities, including Rabat and Casablanca, during the World Labour Day, in response to the Moroccan trade union's appeal. The slogans, as always, against the high cost of living, the deterioration of purchasing power and the corruption. The demonstrators marched in the capital, which notably houses the parliament. The demonstrators called on the head of the government, Aziz Akhnouch, to resign. Faced with significant social disparities, the Moroccan workers have come out to voice their anger, calling for an increase in wages and a settlement of their situation, particularly for the professional sectors that have been marginalized and seriously hit by the multidimensional crisis. Determined to go through with their fight, the unions have stepped up to denounce the soaring prices of staples. They also demand the capping of fuel prices, the reduction of taxes on basic foodstuffs, and the reduction of income tax. The economic and social crisis provokes the anger and indignation of Moroccans plunging in misery while the Mahsen regime confines itself to silence and enjoys a luxurious lifestyle. Denouncing the repressive methods used by the Mahsen to silence free voices, the demonstrators also demand the release of political prisoners and respect for public freedoms.
A huge mobilization in France also on the same occasion. The pensions reform gathered hundreds of thousands of people in at least 300 points in France amid tight security surveillance. Najah Dayar once again.
Protesting with pots and pans. That's how demonstrations are held in France to voice the total disagreement with the government actions these 2 weeks. Joy and determination were also expressed by the demonstrators in these protests. It is a revolt day. The people are here and will continue demonstrating. The revolt in the country is not over. They were 2.3 million in all France, a historical figure that reinforced the inter-union position and their demand to review the retirement pensions' new reforms. This May 1st was an opportunity for the citizens to heavily take to the streets. This was an opportunity to meet the new Ecological and Social People's Union, who are supporting the mobilization of the inter-union in this historical day. The Prime Minister has announced that she was going to postpone the immigration law. Now the country is in a deadlock. I do not see which draft bill would the majority adopt at the National Assembly. 7 years ago, Emmanuel Macron has presented his wishes to the workers who are now protesting everywhere in France amid a tight security measures put in place by the police, who seem to be against demonstrators. A debate concerning the police force repressions is already scheduled on Wednesday in France Assembly on the occasion of the government monitoring week.
And finally, the under-17 national team are to take on today here in Algiers, Senegal, as part of the AFCON competition being held in Algeria. A second victory will secure their qualification to the second round of the competition, so let's wish them all the best. And with that, our today's news edition comes to an end. Thank you for joining us, and goodbye.